I played soccer.
What position were you?
I was a goalkeeper.
Any other positions or just goalkeeper?
When you get to that level, it's pretty specialized to a particular position, and especially when you play goalkeeper, it's, we're not as strong on the field as some of the other positions.
How has your love for soccer grown?
Soccer is something that I started when I was 4 or 5 years old, and as I got older and got more competitive with it, I started to play for more teams. By the time I was in high school, I was playing probably 20 hours per week at least of soccer, and all day long on the weekends I played for the state team. So I think just when you're playing the sport, you develop a love and a passion for the game, and I've carried that forward and continued to coach since my playing days have ended. So it's definitely grown a lot over the years.
How has soccer helped you grow?
I would say, especially the position of goalkeeper is very much a managerial position. You're kind of directing the field. You have to be able to see kind of the whole picture. I see a lot of the skills that I used as a soccer player as things that I use in my job every day. I mean, I'm able to see the big picture and plan and organize, and I think a lot of those skill sets came from being a player. I think the commitment, the time commitment, the physical and emotional commitment that you put in for the number of hours to do a sport at that level, I think that those skills have helped me professionally. They certainly have helped me personally as well. So I think that the life skills I've gained from soccer are really the most important parts.
How did playing a sport better your college experience?
What I would say from the outset, I went to Cal, so I came in early August when all the other students came like 3 or 4 weeks later. So by the time school started and college started, which is a huge change, I already had my best friends. I already had this family and this group and a really set schedule that I could stay on top of. I think the reason I did so well academically in college is because I had a really structured routine, and I had to plan around practices and games, and had to learn how to go and talk to my professors and advocate for myself because I was absent a lot for games and those things. So I think that just that soccer family was probably the most important part of it for me.
What were some big struggles you encountered?
I think that the biggest challenge that any student faces when you go to play Division I sports is you're used to being the best player on your team. Like if you're making it to Cal, for example, to play soccer, you're pretty darn good. And when you get there, everyone was the best player on their team. So now you're faced with competing against really strong players, and you might not get as much playing time as you're used to. Most of us were really used to being leaders on our team, and then you come in and you're a freshman again, and you have to kind of earn your spot. I would also say, physically it's really demanding. The amount of running and weightlifting and just hours that you have to put in, it's pretty exhausting. So I think it's definitely not for everyone, but if you can manage it, I think the rewards are worth it.
If any student from Murrow was going to play a sport in college, what advice would you give them?
I would say first to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Really do your research, go and visit the campus, meet the coach, get a sense of what the coach's style will be like, because that's another thing that can be a big change from high school. And really make sure you're honest with yourself about what your level of commitment is. If you're not 100% committed to that sport, you're not going to be able to do it. It's going to be too exhausting. It's going to be too tough. You've got to be able to be mentally very, very strong to be able to play sport in college. And you also want to make sure that you're visiting the campus and meeting the team, and that you really get a sense of the community you're going to be a part of. Because these are the people you're going to live with, you're going to play with, you're going to spend pretty much every second of your college life with. So you want to make sure it's the right spot.
How has being on a team helped your leadership career?
I would say it's been instrumental. It's a huge part of, I've always been part of a team. I've always enjoyed being on teams. I've always enjoyed collaborating with people and really pulling out the best in people and their skills. I see that as a role that I had as a captain. I was often a captain of my sports teams. I often was the one giving the pregame talk to kind of motivate and move the team forward. That certainly served me well as a coach, and I think the skills that I use in coaching made me a good teacher, and I think also helped me in my job as an administrator. You have to work in teams throughout your career, and I think the collegiate athletes, there's a reason there's so many of them that work here and work in, I think, pretty demanding professions, because you've learned how to manage your time, you've learned how to be a leader, you've learned how to be a listener, you've learned how to collaborate. So I think all of those skills kind of come hand in hand.